Dobro jutro, dobar dan. Thank you for joining us this morning. For those of you that don't know, I'm Paul Orr. I'm one of the American students that's working here with Bikoshna Cerkev, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here. So let's dive on in. In 1 Thessalonians 2:12, Paul is writing and reminding the Church of Thessalonica of what he did when he was with them in person and what he's done with all the churches he's ever partnered with. And it says, "We exhorted each one of you and encouraged you and charged you to walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you into his own kingdom and glory." And this is exactly what I feel called to do with my time here in Spodbuda. The whole goal is to do just as Paul did, but geared a little more towards the men, to exhort, to encourage, and to charge them. Biblical manhood is something that's being lost in the 21st century. And I believe and trust that God wants to revive it here in Spodbuda and then eventually let it spread out. So let's dig in. Exodus 20:18-21 says, "Now when all the people saw the thunder and the flashes of lightning and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking, the people were afraid and trembled, and they stood far off and said to Moses, 'Lest you speak to us, we will listen. But do not let God speak to us, lest we die.' Moses said to the people, 'Do not fear, for God has come to test you, that fear of him may be before you, that you may not sin.' The people stood far off, while Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was." I really want to focus in on verse 21. The people stood far off, while Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. There's a few key things that we can learn from this amazing man of God, just from this last verse. And the first one is do not fear. The world has made it out that men should never fear anything, which is true to an extent. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." And also, if we know God's in something, we should not fear it because we know it's his will. But we should fear God, but that's a different message. Although there was thick darkness, thunder, lightning, Moses didn't fear. He approached, he drew near. And sometimes what God is calling us into and what he's set before us seems scary, very fearful. But we should be like Moses and still pursue it. Nahum 1:3 says, "His way is in the whirlwind and storm." So when it's scary, most likely it's God. The second point from this verse that we can pull out is to pursue God wholeheartedly. Jeremiah 29:13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." And that's exactly what Moses did. You have to be wholeheartedly seeking something, to be willing to enter darkness and something that's scary to try to find it. Through his wholehearted pursuit, God was able to use Moses in miraculous ways, in ways he never would have been able to use him if he wasn't wholeheartedly seeking God. So let us be like Moses, brothers. Wherever God is, let's go. Eventually, the Israelites did follow Moses, and they did draw close to God. Men, we're the leaders of our relationships, of our marriages, of our friendships. And if we're wholeheartedly pursuing God, the people around us are going to follow. But if we're not, they're not going to follow. So I urge us, brothers, to run to Jesus, fully surrendered and fully devoted. There's two options that we can do. We can be like the Israelites and stay far away, or we can be like Moses and draw near. Which do you want to do? God desires a relationship with us. Let us draw near to God wholeheartedly this week, even when those around us are not. Thank you.